48 times per second. Wow! This technology was first used in gadgets you could buy in the 1970s. So surely then alarm clocks can't be that old, can they? Well, prepare to be amazed. One of the first alarm clocks dates back an incredible 2,400 years and was apparently made by the ancient Greek philosopher Plato. He ran a famous school in Athens in Greece, but apparently his students were a bit like me. They were always oversleeping. So, the beardy brainbox Plato built a wake-up system based on a water clock. The ancient Greek word was klepsydra, meaning water stealer. Now, these gadgets were already over 1,000 years old by the time that Plato was around, and they measured time by letting water drain from one tank into another one. So, how did Plato's clock work? Well, annoyingly, we don't know. Okay. Now, Plato left us loads of his big ideas about politics and how to be a good person, but not his clock instructions. Perhaps it whistled like a steam train by forcing air out of a pipe. Or maybe it released brass balls that clanged noisily onto metal, a bit like when all the saucepans clatter out of my kitchen cupboard and bounce off my head. Ouch! We don't really know, to be honest. Either way, the smart thing about water clocks is that you can adjust them by pouring in more or less water, or you can make the holes in the pots bigger or smaller so that the water trickles through faster or slower. So maybe then Plato's clock had a snooze option to allow for an extra long lie-in. Oh, I do hope so. However, not all clocks show us the time. And 1,000 years ago, in medieval China, there was a fire clock that let you smell the time. Basically, it was an incense burner filled with exact measurements of incense that burned for 1 hour. When that hour passed, a metal ball dropped and made a loud chime sound. But the most brilliant part was that anyone could walk into a room and sniff the air to know what time it was, because each hour had its own distinctive smell. Hang on a minute. Yeah, it smells like 2 o'clock. Oh, lovely, lunchtime. Of course, it only works if you haven't got an even smellier teenage brother ponging up the place. Honestly, have a wash. My favourite alarm clock from history was the beautifully named knocker-upper. And it wasn't even a gadget. No, it was a person. Yeah, in Queen Victoria's era, she reigned in Britain from 1837 to 1901, a knocker-upper was someone who went up and down the streets of British towns with a long stick. Sure, they probably looked like a pole vaulter practicing for the Olympics, but actually their job was to wake up all the factory workers by banging on the windows with their long pole. Now, obviously, that meant keeping your window closed all night, because otherwise, if you woke up and went to your window in the morning, you'd just get a long pole in your face. Ouch! Now, funny enough, sometimes the knocker-upper also needed waking up in time to do their job. And, well, who woke up a knocker-upper? Well, a knocker-upper's knocker-upper, of course. I wonder who woke up the knocker-upper's knocker-upper. I mean, surely there wasn't such a thing as a knocker-upper's knocker-upper knocker-upper. All in all, I reckon our modern alarm clocks are much less alarming than having a stranger attack your window with a massive stick. But maybe that's just me. Anyway, enough of that. Next chapter. Chapter 2. The Toilet. I don't want to get too personal. After all, we've only just met. But is it just me, or do you sometimes wake up in the morning and think, uh-oh, I need to go to the loo? And quickly. In my country, the UK, toilets tend to be indoors, in a room with a nearby sink for hygienic hand washing. Now, you might assume that pretty much everyone gets to enjoy this modern luxury, but sadly there are 4 billion people in the world today who don't have safe access to toilet facilities. So we're lucky to be able to pee in peace and safety. But our toilets haven't always been like this. When you sit on a toilet seat, you're doing something